Hey everyone, this is daveac.blip.tv and this is my vblog 109 and it's Friday the 20th of August 2010. I drink the podcast electric. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And I'm actually going to be drinking a wine at the end. Well, I'll explain that later as we go along. See, you'll have to stay tuned now to find out what on earth this chap's talking about. Just a little bit to say about last week. What a to-do I had last week. Of course, I was recording on Friday the 13th, so I did have a few troubles. I had to do about 4 goes at it. Remember, I do this in one straight take, and if I mess up, I'd have to start again, do the whole thing, RIKBO, and carry on. Well, one of the the only good things about it was, remember, I do this original one in a higher definition. Even if you're watching the flash version on a website, there is the higher version available on the blip.tv site, and also now I post it a day or so later on YouTube. And with YouTube having the 15-minute limit, guess what? Last week's went up on YouTube, time 40 minutes 59 seconds, so that was cutting it a little bit fine. 1 or 2 seconds more and the thing wouldn't have uploaded and it'd have been a right old tiswas. So anyway, get on with the show, David. Now, because of circumstances, I've been helping my cousin sort out her PC. It's involved me taking apart my second PC to try swapping over parts and so on. So I'm going to have to try and record this as I do, which uses quite a lot of the power of my PC, and yet also play a little YouTube video. And that relates to one of the parts of today's podcast, of course. Well, let me just say then that there will be no book, but there sort of will be. There'll be no DVD, but with like the YouTube thing, this sort of. But there's no classical music. And with that, 2 minutes gone, we need to get on. Okay, podcasting. The Gallifreyan Embassy, Doctor Who Podshock. The last episode they put out was only for subscribers, but they've now put out another episode that's at 217. It's available on iTunes or from the Gallifreyan site, Doctor Who Podshock. Podshock.net, that's right. What about the Cultum Collective? Well, we've been really busy yet again. On the Sunday that's just gone, we did our episode 59, called Sherlock, where we were talking about the BBC series Sherlock that's aired here in the UK, and there are spoilers in our talk about that. So put it to one side unless you've actually seen Sherlock to the end, because there are spoilers about it. But then we go on later in the programme to talk about Jeremy Black playing Sherlock Holmes in the Granada series that ran for about 10 years, and of course Basil Rathbone and other various incarnations of Sherlock Holmes. So please catch that from the TalkShoe site 54821, from our blog at cultum.com. You can find the link there, or subscribe on iTunes. We also put out another one of our commentaries. We've gone back to picked a few choice episodes from series 1 from 2005. We're now on to the second series. We've skipped New Earth, and we've gone to Tooth and Claw. So the Tooth and Claw commentary is now up on our site. So that's the podcasting news. Going back to the Doctor Who Podshock, though, let me just mention that tomorrow, Saturday the 21st of August, is another one of the Second Life meetups. This will go from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. London time. And I think that's Pacific time. So that equates to about, I think there's an 8-hour difference between that and the UK. So that's something like 8 p.m. till 2 a.m. in the morning here in the UK. So please try and join that. If you're on Facebook and if you follow something like the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance, I put a couple of mentions of that on their Facebook page. And one of the things I'm going to mention when I move the camera is that Victor First Mornington is one of the 4 co-owners of the Katrina area, the Doctor Who area of Second Life, has got a couple of videos explaining how to get about. And you really might need to watch it because there's a new viewer out. I think it just come out last time. But for people who haven't been to Second Life for a while, they may need to watch that video to have some clue as to getting about without getting lost. Okay, I'm going to gabble on a little bit now with some pieces of slightly unrelated bits of news. Then we can move the camera and I'm going to explain what the I Drink the Podcast Electric refers to. And then I've got a wine calling to me at the side here. Really one of the wines that I don't often have, but when I do have it, I really do enjoy it. So I know what to expect for this wine today. Okay, bits of unrelated news then. It's been finally confirmed that Star Wars will be coming out on Blu-ray in 2011. So that's got a lot of fans excited. And there are going to be a couple of deleted scenes, I believe, shown on that. I don't think they're going to be the very original theatre airings. It's going to be the extended ones that came out the second time round. And those will be refreshed somewhat and then onto Blu-ray. Other sort of science fiction thing, there is now, it seems to be, a Quantum Leap movie in the works. Scott Bakula will perhaps take a small part, but it doesn't look as though he's going to be playing the lead role. But that is really something I'm interested to see. Gaming or hardware news, and these are 2 pieces of news about the PlayStation 3. One is that they're selling off the current ones because they are bringing out the larger hard drive versions up to versions 320 gigs now, and of course bundled with the Move controller and so on. Now, apparently the reason for moving to the higher capacity hard drives is because they want to encourage people to download movies now rather than buy them on Blu-ray. But they want them to not just rent the movies, but maybe download them. And of course, for that, you need a much larger hard drive. So that is something that looks good to look out for. I'm waiting, of course, for the Tiger Woods game bundled with the Move so I can do my proper golfing shots. The other thing about the PlayStation 3, and this relates to people in the UK, is that where we can already get the BBC iPlayer, that's the sort of catch-up services of the BBC channels on the PlayStation 3, they're now going to have a little special player for ITV, which is one of the main commercial channels here in the UK, the ITV player. And that, by the way, might be causing the ITV name might be going to cause a little bit of bother in the tech world, because the Apple are wanting to develop their Apple TV, build it into TVs and so on, and they're toying, it believes, with the idea of small I TV as the name for that. And of course, I would think that ITV in the UK might have some legal say-so on whether that is an infringement of their copyright or not. So we will see if a battle royale comes out of that. Okay, I want to get onto the main little bit that is sort of in lieu of my book and DV and so on. And it's just to say that in 2 days' time, on the 22nd of August, it will be science fiction and fantasy writer Ray Bradbury's 90th birthday. And I want to thank Ian the Sixth Doctor for bringing that to my attention. And it also may be a little clue to a small announcement he will be making on our Sundays Golden Collective podcast, which of course, by the way, we will be doing about exploring the deep in sci-fi and fantasy. That's not just related to the BBC series The Deep, although there might be some spoiler information about that, but talking about all those adventures that have taken place under the 7/10 of our world that is covered by water. you know, from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Sphere, and all the other different underwater movies of fantasy and science fiction. So please join us for that. That is Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. TalkShoe ID 54821. Well, anyway, Ray Bradbury, let's get back to him. Let me just read a little bit from his wiki page before we move the camera. Raymond Douglas Bradbury, born obviously 22nd of August 1920. Fantasy, horror, science fiction, best known for dystopian novels like Fahrenheit 451, The Martian Chronicles, The Illustrated Man. And I'm sure I've got all three of those upstairs in my attic, but can I find them? No, I can't. They're in one of about the 40 boxes up in my attic. But what I'm going to do to give you a little taste of his, one of his short stories, which I think became a longer story later, was I Sing the Body Electric. And that was adapted for The Twilight Zone in 1962. This is Series 3 of The Twilight Zone, Episode 35. And I'm just going to show a little clip of that. And by the way, as I move the camera, let me just mention that Talking Twilight Zone is one of the podcasts I go on, and that is on Saturday. I haven't got the show ID, but right, I've just got this past the credits, and I'm just going to roll it because we're already short of time.
Are they going to make her out of liquor?
Well, I don't know. Let's wait and see.
Won't you come in, please? We've been expecting you.
Just to convince you that Facsimile Limited can do everything that it claims that it can.
And that light out of the
This
way.
way, please. Eyes. Soft brown, vivid blue. Any color you choose.
I'm going to stop it there. Yes, they're going into a place to get a nanny built for them like a robot. And while I've got the camera over here before we start the wine, let me just show you, if you're going to come on the Doctor Who Podshock Second Life meetup, that of course, as I said, is tomorrow, go to YouTube user Victor First Mornington, and then you can watch his video explaining how to get around the Katrina area of Second Life. So that is really, I haven't got time to play it, but I do highly recommend you check Victor's couple of videos that he's got out there. So great. Well, I've just got a minute and a half to go for my marvellous wine. There we are. Casillero del Diablo Shiraz 2009 from Chile. A fruity plump Shiraz full of forest fruits, bitter chocolate and a hint of black pepper. Wine is packed with flavour and soft tannins. And I've just got 1 minute to have a sniff. And you get that forest floor. You get the sort of deep fruit. It's beautiful purple colour. And it's intense fruit. This spice, this slight pepperiness. It is an absolute gem. Usually about £8, $12. I got it on offer for £5, that's $8, and it's absolutely brilliant. And time's up. One last look at the bottle. as I end the recording and say, catch you next week. Bye.